So this is my backyard. It's July 26th, 2018. You can see the ash coming from the Carr fire. Cobwebs that need to knock down off the jasmine on the lattice. But we've been getting ash probably for about 2 days now. Fire started about 4 or 5 days ago, and it just blew up overnight last night. It went from almost 7,000 acres to over 20,000 acres. I don't know what my neighbors have got. It's driving me crazy. Trampoline hasn't been swept off in a couple of days. It looks, there's ash in the air all over the place. So I know we just found out the west end of town, we're on the east, west end of town is starting to evacuate. So pretty big town, but yeah, it's kind of disconcerting when you hear that it's burned the whole area where the lake's at. It started out by the lake, it's burned the whole area where the lake was at, now it's headed toward town, and just overnight it's just going crazy. So got clothes on the clothesline I'm going to have to probably rewash because of all the smoke. But we're just praying for everybody in town. It's a lot of fire, a lot of smoke, a lot of ash. Oh, yep, you can just barely see. I can't get it on film, but that's the end of our street. It's the 26th of July, and it's hitting parts of the edge of the city. We came out here to see if we could get a good flare-up. You can see it from our house, but nothing's showing up on film right now. It was a little bit more active about an hour, half hour ago, so we'll see.
You see things starting to get brighter now.
Start to see it. I don't know if you can see it right in the middle of the screen. It's just a red glow, and then every once in a while you'll see it kind of flare up. But it's about 10:30 at night. So, hey guys, it's Sunday evening. In fact, it's about 11 o'clock on Sunday night, and I want to catch you up a little bit. I haven't filmed the last couple days because we've sort of been in crisis mode around here. I filmed a few clips on Thursday and Friday, I think, but I don't think I even told you really guys what was going on. Last Monday, on July 23rd, there was a kind of like an accident out by the lake where I always take the kids. We always go swimming out there. You guys have seen videos. We love the lake. It's like our escape from the heat. It's, as the kids are getting older, it's a lot of fun. We go out and we explore the creek and the waterfalls there, and it's one of our national parks that we go to all the time. I think we went fishing there a while back, and this whole thing. So it was a really hot day, and there was a trailer that had a blowout, and it's pretty narrow there where it happened. So the driver got over as soon as he could, but in the process, the rim hitting the road sparked a fire. And we're not like strangers to fires around here. We live kind of on the edge of a lot of wildlife, and so and it's California, it's very hot, so there's always wildfires. And we were just kind of keeping an eye on it. It didn't seem very, I don't know, it wasn't a big deal. It was a wildfire, it was normal. Of course, we were a little bit worried about it because it's very hot and very dry right now, but it seemed to be under control. So that happened on Monday. Tuesday was good. Wednesday, I stayed up pretty late. Like, I've been staying up late all summer, and I happened to catch a live feed on Facebook Wednesday night. And at that time, the fire was around 4,000, 5,000 acres. And in that video, around midnight that night, it jumped the road, which is not completely unusual fire behavior, but it just, at the time, that seemed like this is going to get a little bit out of hand. By the time I woke up Wednesday morning or Thursday morning, the timeline's a little sketchy, the fire had grown considerably. I think that was Wednesday morning, and then Thursday morning was the day that everything kind of ramped up. When I got up Thursday morning, the fire was a little over 6,000 acres. Still pretty good for something that had been burning for 4 days. By Thursday night, it was 20,000 acres, and it was coming toward town. And now our lake and where this sparked, I would say, is probably 25 minutes from the edge of town. And in one day, it was on the edge of our city. It had blown through an old historical town with a bunch of historical buildings. It had blown across one of the dams here in town, and it had hit some outlying communities, and it was right on the edge of our city. Our city's about 90,000, and in the greater area, there's about, I think the statistic I heard the other day is 175,000. So it had burned in no time, right up there, to the point where Thursday night, it was probably around 6 or 7, that my husband and I looked at each other and were like, this is a problem. This is a big problem. They were, all day we'd been hearing, evacuating this area, and just getting closer and closer and closer to where Thursday night they were evacuating parts of the city. And it got really scary. Thursday night was really, really scary. We had lots of friends evacuating on Thursday night. And that end of town is we only have 2 hospitals here in town. One of the hospitals is on that end of town and right on the edge of kind of where those evacuations were happening. Just lots of friends that were being pushed out, and it got really scary. And the evacuation zones kept coming further and further and further into town, to the point where we were still outside of an evacuation zone, but they were getting really close. And there was a lot of rumors going on, talk of like whole sections of town being wiped out, major landmarks being wiped out. I mean, there was just a lot of half-truths, to where you didn't know. We didn't know if we were safe. We didn't know if it was coming for us. We knew a lot of people that were in harm's way. And on Thursday night, it actually jumped a section of the river. And that was partially what was helping us feel safe, was that we were on the Sacramento River and we were feeling pretty safe. And then in the west end of town, it jumped the river and wiped out an entire subdivision, just completely plowed through, people barely having time to get out of their homes. It was scary. It was really, really scary. Unlike, I've seen a lot of wildfires in my life, but when it starts hitting a city and you've got houses on top of each other, and you just don't know when it's going to end. It was scary. My husband slept on the couch that night. We left the news on, and I couldn't sleep. I finally, at 1:30 in the morning, I felt like we were safe, but I didn't feel safe. And so about 1:30 in the morning, I got up, and I didn't want to wake up the kids, so I just went in their rooms and I just started grabbing clothes and stuffing in backpacks in the middle of the night with no lights on. Just stuffing backpacks, thinking in my brain, if we get a knock on the door, what am I grabbing? I pulled my filer out of the garage with all our birth certificates and our insurance and all that stuff, and had it sitting next to the door. My husband and I talked about which pets we were going to grab if we had to, if we were going to be able to get them. That was the other thing. Would they comply? And we just waited. I finally fell asleep Thursday night, probably around 2:30 in the morning. And we woke up, when I went to bed Thursday night, it was 20,000 acres-ish. And got up Friday and it was 44,000 acres. And it was just growing by the minute. And what was happening was not only was it encroaching on the city, but it started to grow north and west, or north and south. So we already had firefighters and CAL FIRE and fire crews stretched so thin, and then the line of holding that fire back just kept getting longer and longer and encompassing more communities, going over rivers, going over dams, going up through major subdivisions. Spot fires. This is what finally got to us on Friday, was that where we were at, we felt pretty safe, but the further encroached south, that line that they were holding was kind of not paralleling, it was coming toward us. The fire line that they had held, they were holding it on a highway, but that highway comes toward us, it cuts in, and then they start getting spot fires there, and those spot fires were getting closer. And I thought, I just Friday morning sat down and told my kids that I would pull them out of here way before the evacuation zone got to us, and then there were spot fires, and we decided we just had to go. We were super stressed out, very, very tired. Thursday was rough because there was so much rumors and so much misinformation, and things were moving so quickly, you just didn't know. So Friday, we did a few things around the house, tried to make it a really normal day. My husband had the day off. They called him, canceled work for that day because there were so many people from his office that were in the line of that fire. They just canceled work and tried to make it a really normal day, but it was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. We were like, we need a break. We need a break. So I cried. I told my husband, I said, this is so hard. There were so many different emotions going on. Number one, it was like, if we leave, that means this really is serious. Because why leave if it's not really serious? And it was like, I had held to, we're okay. And leaving meant it was real. Leaving meant that there was, we could lose friends. We could lose, our home. And I looked around at everything that was in this house and I thought, I don't even care. But the other thing that was making me hurt was all my friends that were evacuating, being displaced, uncertain, didn't know where they were, couldn't get a hold of them. We had a baseball family that was on standby for being evacuated, and I had told her like 24 hours before we left, if you get evacuated, you come to our house. I don't care if it's in the middle of the night, you come. And then I felt like I was abandoning all these people, and there was really no imminent danger for us other than, of course, we didn't know what was really happening, but I just felt like I was abandoning everyone. And we were, number one, it made it very real, and number two, we were leaving people who were really hurting, and I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here for them. So we left Friday. We went down to my sister-in-law's. She's a few hours away, and spent the weekend, and we just watched the numbers all weekend, hoping for something good. It's Sunday night, it's grown to 89,000, almost 90,000 acres. And we were watching that containment number. That was my signal. I thought, if the containment number can go up, I can go home. And it was this afternoon, my husband and I took a really long walk, and we talked a lot of things out, and we decided we were going to come home anyway. The containment was only at 5% when we left my sister-in-law's house, and we decided we were just going to come anyway. We were going to do whatever we could, if that just meant being a house for somebody to come to dinner, if that just means checking on our elderly neighbors, if that just means making things as normal as we can for our kids and their friends, having their friends over to just have some normalcy. Or if that means we can do something else, I don't know. So we just decided we were just going to come by faith, and that for now it was okay, and we could be home. I opened the Cal Fire incident report tonight when it came out at about 7 or 7:30, and it was 17%, which is still a very, very low number. But for days we've been seeing 3%, 5%, 3%, 5%. So to see 17% tonight, when we just decided that we were just going to put a stake in the ground and this was going to be home and we were going to come back for our community, was super encouraging. It was very encouraging. I haven't been downtown. I have to go downtown tomorrow to go to work because my job is down there, and my job's near the evacuation zone, and I have to take my kids with me because my work overlaps with my husband's work, so that makes me a little nervous. I don't mind going down there. It makes me a little nervous to have my kids with me, but I think what makes me more nervous is just seeing downtown. I've heard it's very quiet. Heard it's very empty, and I think that's gonna be weird. It's gonna be really weird. So we'll see. I don't know where this fire is gonna go. I don't know where it's gonna take us, but for now I'm very encouraged. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the Carr fire online. C-A-R-R is named after kind of the area that it started. It's big. It's really big, and it's really scary. We've had a couple of fire tornadoes tear through the city in that area, and they are terrifying. Those things are terrifying. The night it jumped the river and wiped out a subdivision, I hear there was one there that night too. So we're still praying. We still need lots and lots of prayer, guys. As encouraging as 17% is, it's still very scary. So it's gonna be a long haul. I think I see some of the best in our community coming out right now. I was telling a friend of mine that it's a small enough city that you might not know everybody, but you know somebody who knows them. I can mention a name of somebody who's lost a home and my neighbor knows them. Or I, overhear a conversation at the grocery store and I know that person. It's a small enough community it's really sad. It's touched so many of us. But we're seeing some of the best of our community, and I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people opening their homes, of homes just being filled to capacity because there's just such a need. People taking people in to feed them dinner and to house them, and asking just, can you just help me with food because I've got 10 extra people in my home right now. It's amazing. It's really amazing how many people have gone out to help their neighbors pick up and get them out of harm's way. So, and take them in afterwards. It's a huge undertaking to have somebody else in your home and to be feeding them and be emotional support for them and cry with them and laugh with them, and yeah. So that's where we're at. I don't know where the next couple of days will bring, but I'm so glad to be home. It was nice to rest while we were away and have a good night's sleep, but my heart hurt so bad to be away from here and to not be able to do anything. So we're very glad to be home. Keep us in your prayers. Till next time. Bye, guys.